Hey miners, Mining King here. Today we're going to learn how to make a Flux node with Unraid. Before we get into that, here's a word from our sponsor. Today, Fluxpools.net would like to announce a miner appreciation program where they will be giving one lucky miner $1,000 in Flux every month for the next 12 months. Flux Labs is operated by the people from the Flux team, and their main goal is to provide a safe and transparent mining experience. While the Flux project does not take directly from the pool, Fluxpools.net does give a portion of their fees back to the Flux project because they understand that both the project and the miners are what make this pool possible. Entering the $1,000 monthly giveaway is easy, and here's how. Mine at the pool and maintain at least a 90% uptime for the first month and 95% uptime for the following months over the next 30-day period with at least one GPU. Yep, that's it. The giveaway prize will be sent directly to the mining address and nowhere else, so please do not mine directly to an exchange. Rewards may be lost as a result. This is all on top of their normal weekly loyalty program, and starting on August 19th, all the parallel asset fees will be cut in half. So please check out fluxpools.net for a great place to mine. All right, guys, we're back. This is going to be a 3-part series, so don't expect to learn everything at once today. I am going to space these videos out, maybe a week, maybe a more, spread out over time. I just want to make sure I get everything right and a really step-by-step guide on how to do this so people don't get confused or lost. What are some of the things that you're going to need? Unraid, server. Well, one, you're going to need a computer of some sort. I need to go over some disclaimers with you guys. So, one, Flux nodes are not by any means easy as mining rigs, right? There has been tons of people who have had issues. You do need to know some Linux commands and how to operate in Linux. I do not know Linux that well, just very, very little. So this is more for intermediate users. It's not for everybody, and maybe not everybody can do it. And if you can't, maybe a Titan node might be a better option for you. I've had great success with my nodes. I do have to give a shout out to Tains. Tains was the one who helped me set up my node for Unraid. So huge shout out to Tains. He really took it through step by step, and I've set it up with the auto update feature, and I've had 0 problems. So it's always auto updated, and I've never been down. Besides, so the system requirements that you're gonna need in order for and this is for a Cumulus node build. This isn't for Nimbus or any the other one. So we're just gonna be doing a Cumulus node. So you need at least 2 cores and 4 threads. You'll need 8 gigs of RAM, as well as 256 gigs of SSD hard drive. You can't use a regular mechanical drive. The speeds are not fast enough. So you will also need 25 megabits up and down. Most people get a little lost on the upload. So most internet companies give you lots of download speed. Like they'll give you like 600 or even 1200 megabytes down, but only give you like 30 up or even 15 up. So it is you need to check your internet speed. You can always do a speed test online and see what your speeds are, but you will need 25 up and 25 down for the Cumulus node. I believe they're going to start pretty soon to benchmark the internet speeds, so you may see some of the Cumulus nodes drop off because people obviously maybe don't have that upload speed. So those are going to be like the requirements to actually have the node be operational. Now, besides the actual system requirements, you will also need to have 1,000 flux. And we'll get into like confirmations of your flux and stuff like that, but you'll need 1,000 flux to start your Cumulus node. So as another disclaimer, you will have to pay for Unraid. You do get 30 days for free, and then it's like $60. Now, I paid the $60, and I had some extra hard drives from a Chia build that didn't do so well. So I have 24 terabytes in my main Unraid server, and I use that as my YouTube, video storage with my thumbnails and my videos. So you can also use this as a NAS if you want to have that in your home as well, right? So it can be dual purposed. So it's very, very useful. So once again, we will be starting with this. And again, this series may be in 3 or 4 sections. So don't expect to learn how to make the node today. This is just to pretty much get Unraid on your system. We'll do the next step about putting Linux Ubuntu on on the Unraid and then actually installing the Flux OS and doing all that stuff, having the confirmations and going through the initial setup of your node and all that. So that will come later down the road. Today, the goal in this video is to simply install and get your Unraid set up. Let's go ahead and dive right into it. All right, so we're over here at unraid.net. This is where you actually get the Unraid program. They do have the product, as well as you can go over here to some of their pricing. This is for unlimited attached storage devices, up to 12, up to 6. So it'll depend on like how many drives you really want to have attached. Like I only have 3, 8 terabyte hard drives attached. So obviously I'm choosing the basic for $60. They do give you 30 days for free. So it's kind of up to you. So we're going to come over here to the download section. In this USB creator, we don't have to flash it with like Balena Etcher. This program itself will actually flash the USB for us, so all we have to do is install this. So let me show you how to do that real quick. So there's obviously an option for Mac. There's also an option for Windows, depending upon what computer you use. So we're going to go ahead and open the file. So once you open the file, you'll be greeted with this screen right here. And obviously, there's you can do different versions and stuff like that. Okay, we are going to name this is just going to be for my test because I already have an Unraid server, so we're just going to say test Unraid. Okay, now it'll depend if you want to give it a static IP or a DHCP. I suggest doing the DHCP unless you want to give it a static IP, so it's kind of up to you guys. Now it says to select your USB drive, and then all you have to do is click write image. When you do click the right image, you'll be greeted with this. Obviously, it will erase any of your information that was on there will be deleted. So make sure if you had other stuff on there to obviously back up your data. So we're gonna click erase and write. All right, so you can see here it says writing is done. It's created the image for Unraid. In order to be able to find this, you are going to have to log into your router. Another way you could do this is you can hook up a monitor to it, and after the boot screen is after done booting, it will show you the IP address for the rig. It's the machine itself. Essentially, what you need to do is you must find the IP address for this particular tower. That way, you can log into the Unraid GUI and configure it. Let's go ahead and let's take out the USB drive and let's go ahead and plug it in. All right, guys, so we're here at the Unraid GUI login page, but I'll tell you how to get there. There's 2 ways to do this. Well, I mean, you both have to use them on the computer, but there's 2 ways to find this information. You can either find it at your router, which I'm not going to, obviously show you my router and my personal, WAN IP address, but you need to go into your router and wait for this computer to boot up, and you will see a new IP address appear, right? And what you want to do is you want to type in that IP address and then do /login. And as you can see, the test Unraid rig is up right here. Now, the other way to find out what the IP address is without looking in your router and waiting for the rig to come online is to hook up I have a 7-inch monitor, or if you have a spare monitor, you can hook it up to the rig and it will still automatically boot and everything. But after it boots, you'll be able to see exactly which IP address it used, so you can do the login that way. So that's the 2 ways you guys can find your IP address for your Unraid rig. Now, the Unraid rig I am using is a backup gaming computer I have on hand. I was going to use an Optiplex, but I've let it sit too long and I don't feel like troubleshooting it right now. So I'm going to use my backup PC. We're here at the Unraid. This is the initial GUI login. And the first user is, you can't change that. It's going to be the root user, which is like the admin user. So you're going to need to set a password. So once you have your password, it has to be a minimum of 8 characters. So let's go ahead and hit select password. Okay, then you're going to see this when you first come in here. You're going to see Unraid OS no key file. You must purchase your keys. But like I said, you do get 30 days. So let's we're going to go ahead. You could buy the key right away, or if you have a code, you can use that, but we'll do start trial. It's initiating the trial right now. We'll just wait a second. So enhance your Unraid experience with these. I like it. It gives you real-time monitoring and some backups and stuff, so it's a good plugin to have. You have to sign up, I believe, to get this to work, so we'll just sign up. So once you've signed up for this, you go ahead and create your account. So then you're going to have to enter in your code, obviously. So there we go. We have, once you put in your code and you're verified, you can now start using Unraid. So obviously it says up here it's an OS trial. So let's go over to the dashboard. So this is going to be kind of like your overview of Unraid. You can have the description of your machine. It'll have like, what motherboard it is. This is the B450M. I have a Ryzen 3600 processor in it, 6 cores and 12 threads. It'll show you the percentages on all the CPU load, like, how much each core and each thread is working. So if you're going to be, I'm not going to touch it quite yet. If you guys want a video on how to set up the NAS kind of stuff, if I get 20 comments down below, I'll make a video about it. And if I don't get that much, I'm not going to do it. So I'm really not like a network attached storage, channel, but I'll do it if I get enough comments. I'll teach you guys about the parity and how to set up your drives and stuff like that. So, all right, so we're going to want to go over to the main tab over here to set up our drive bay and cache bay for our Unraid server. Now, quick disclaimer, I probably should have said this at the beginning of the video, but you will need to have 2 hard drives to do this, because Unraid is more of a NAS type of program. We need to have 1 disk and 1 cache drive. So I'll show you that here in a second, but you will need an SSD and a mechanical drive to do this. And when you click on the main tab, you're going to see the array devices, and then you're going to want to scroll down until you get down here. Now these are the 2 drives that I have in this particular test system. So I have this spare 2 terabyte just Seagate, it's a cheap 2 terabyte I bought. And then we have my 256 gigabyte SSD, right? So we're going to want to assign these drives so that way we can start what's called our array. And the reason we have to have 2 drives in this is because once we assign the SSD to the cache, we can't start the array, right? Because you have to have at least 1 disk in the array, as well as you do not want to use a SSD as an array disk, because it will literally destroy it. So you should use mechanical drives in the array for the array devices. So we're going to, on disk 1, we're going to come down and assign our 2 terabyte. So now we have 1 disk and we have 1 cache, right? So now what we're going to, and if you don't want to see all these unassigned here, you can come down here to the slots and do the minimum of 3. Because the parity drives the parity drives will always show. So just to let you know what parity drives are, they're like essentially like backups of your disk array. So anytime information is transferred over to the array, it'll be backed up on the parity drives. And that way, in the event if this hard drive failed, this 2 terabyte, my information it's pretty much like RAID almost, right? The information is stored on the parity drive and I can still retrieve my data. So there's a little crash course on the parity drives. But what we're going to do now is we're going to come down here to start, and we're going to start the array. We have our array up. We're going to, and if you want to, because see how this says unmountable, unsupported, all you do is you need to, where it says unmountable disk, format will create a file system in the unmountable disks. So we're going to want to check that. It says it will format the unmountable disks, and we're going to click OK. And so the unmountable one that's up there will be formatted. Now it is set to auto. So now that everything's pretty much set up how we need to have the cache set up, and we have the hard drive already formatted, this is where I'm going to stop today's video. because this video is going to be like extremely long, and I'm going to break it up. I'm going to do one video per week just so I could really try to break every step down for you guys, and that way I can make like 10 to 12 minute videos, so this way it doesn't get drug out too long. The next video will be how to set up the virtual machine with Ubuntu and Linux, so that way we could install our Flux node. We're starting to get more into the technical stuff. This is kind of the easier setup first. So anyways, guys, I hope this video was informative. I hope you guys learned how to set up your Unraid. If you guys have any questions, please leave them down in the comments down below. And once again, this is going to be I'm trying to make it 3 video part series, and I'm really going to try to make it really easy for everybody to follow along, and that way, I can get more people to get their nodes online. But by no means am I an expert in this. So anyways, guys, this is the Mining King giving you the most hashes, and I'll see you next time.